Hi, this is my mom, Beth Radner, and she's from Michigan. And in 2007 to 2009, she was 43 to 45 years old. So, Mom, what were your first feelings or emotions after learning about this severe economic situation of the Great Repression?
Well, I remember being really upset. I was very sad for our country and for so many people that were affected, millions of people across the country, and particularly we were hit so hard in Detroit. And I was also very angry at the government and the banks for allowing banks and mortgage companies to lend so irresponsibly to so many people that shouldn't have been given those kinds of seriously big loans. And so those were my first reactions.
What emotional response did you and your family have to this severe economic situation?
Well, I was scared because it, scared of the unknown. I mean, how was this going to affect um, the family's future, the family's economic future? And it did impact my husband's business, and so he had to find creative ways to combat the downturn in the economy and to figure out um, how to make the best of a bad situation. So, um,
What did you think of President George W. Bush and the Congress's reaction to the Great Depression?
well, I was pretty angry. I was angry at the fact that government, and I know that's a generalization, but allowed this fiasco to happen. It was no secret that people were getting mortgages, people that were making not a lot of money, but were getting these giant mortgages, and so they were inflating the prices of these homes, and for sure they weren't going to be able to get out from underneath it, and they didn't, and so many people lost their homes. So I was angry at that administration.
What did you think of President Barack Obama's and the Congress's reaction to the Great Recession?
Well, I have a more favorable opinion of their reaction. I think President Obama's coming in and saving General Motors, I think that helped the city of Detroit in particular, and all the industry and businesses and professionals that are related to the auto industries. I think it would have been a disaster, maybe more of a disaster had he not done that.
Yeah.
And so I think those were positive things. I think that negatively, I think bailing out the banks, it's not clear to me because it seems like I understand we didn't want the economy to fail totally. However, I think that we may have created something similar now, that banks are kind of doing the same thing again. So I hope we're not in for another big surprise.
How did you feel about the expansion of entitlement programs during the Great Depression? Unemployment benefits, expansion of food assistance, etc.
I was in favor of that. I think people are struggling, whether it was their fault or not, but certainly government and big banks and mortgages had a hand in it. So I think we owe it to our people. If people are hungry and homeless, we have to help them. So I was definitely in favor of that.
What do you believe is our nation's greatest economic concern? Why?
I think our greatest economic concern is educating people, because if we don't educate people, then people won't get jobs. And sort of a corollary to that is that we need to educate people and create jobs. And job creation is difficult, but that actually may be the number one problem. But a subheading of that is educating people, because without having an educated population, that will certainly create a lot of problems in the future.
Do you think that recessions or depressions can be prevented? Why or why not?
These are such good questions. But I think that they can be, I think maybe recessions and depressions, I don't know if they can really be prevented, but maybe the extent to which they're, like for example, maybe we could have prevented the Great Depression. Maybe we can't prevent all such things, but I think by being more responsible in terms of if banks are more responsible and the government is more responsible in terms of, for example, in this last case, extending mortgages to people, I think a lot of damage could be prevented.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions.
Thank you so much for asking. It was a pleasure being interviewed.